like a cat, it was a prey.
Actually, we're going here. Hello, guys. All right. Sorry, I know everybody's been waiting. Everybody's been waiting.
We've had some magnificent technical difficulty days. We've had some delays that have been epic in both the length and in the problems Michael has surmounted to get there. But today, with our special guest Jim McCormick, it was an extra special day of technical, who do you call it, and why is this happening? But here we are, only 25 minutes late.
Yes.
Jim cannot find a spot for his camera where he appears. He is driving. Actually, he is driving in a parade in Nashville being held for him. He has been given the keys to the city in both Nashville and New Orleans. I officially, as of today, because that's the first time I'm actually speaking to him since he got another #1 single, but I actually shouldn't be calling him Jim. It's Mr. McCormick. It has been Mr. McCormick off stage for many years. And now that he's, big again, I'm going to have to do it on stage again. I'll be doing Wright Brothers shows going, Mr. McCormick will be singing the next song.
Right.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
The Ticker Tape Parade. How is the Ticker Tape Parade? And by the way,
when Alan Toussaint came to record on 9 Lives, I said, Mr. Toussaint is here to record. So, I mean, I should accord you the same respect.
No, I don't think, but that was proper where Alan is concerned. No, this parade's holding up a lot of traffic. I can see the commuters are a little angry right now, but we're getting
it's like the astronauts coming back from the moon,
Amidst all our foolishness, congratulations, Jimmy. I'm so
thanks, brother.
So
thank you, my right brother and my soul brother, and Mike Mayu. Both of you guys I've known forever. You've seen this whole dirty journey, so you know where it all began. I got to say that your theme song. What year did Another Cup of Coffee come out? I was spinning that at WTUL, I think, in 1988, 87, 88, 89.
You always say that, and it was. Now, you might have had a demo of me doing it in 87, an acoustic demo of me in 87.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what it was.
I recorded it in 87 in New York, and I did bring the demo to WTUL to see if they would play it, and I guess you did.
That's great. That's great. Great song.
Well, coming
back then, we had.
Well, we all love another cup of coffee. We can all get behind that.
I'll get another cup of coffee.
By the way, I hope you're not drinking while you're driving because we all have our coffee and stuff, but you can't have yours because you're driving.
On that.
Yeah, I have this. I have this cool, lodge-like backing. And Mike has his faux brick wall behind him. It's not real. It's really just a sheet, but it looks awesome. And you're in a car driving where? To write more.
To a coffee shop. To a coffee shop.
Nice.
I'm aspiring to your status right now.
Well, you're driving to a coffee shop to meet another writer to write yet another #1 song.
Yeah,
essentially. Your day consists of essentially you take the kids to school and you kiss the wife goodbye and then you go out and you bestow #1 singles on up and coming artists and then on the way home you say babies and old ladies in distress. Does that pretty much sum up your day?
I just got to go out and kill the next woolly mammoth and drag it back to the cave. That's all I got to do, right?
Is that what you're doing? Killing the woolly mammoth?
Well, I would hate to be that Nashville songwriter named Woolly Mammoth because that bastard's in trouble. Who says he's doing it? Then that kid is going out like Tupac.
Man, I don't know. The hardest thing is not really that hard, and nobody's going to pity me or anything, but it's just like, today I have the terrifying prospect of the blank page again, and I got to figure out how to come up with another idea and write a song while half of me thinks I should just go to the Bahamas and kick back for a few weeks, Yeah,
when you score the success, you really want to celebrate it.
You want to celebrate it. There's no time for that.
Well, I imagine you having a wife and kids puts a little grounding in there that says Bahamas would be nice, but how about that next song?
Right.
Yeah. But how about that next mortgage payment is really what you're thinking, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but I know that they like to have money. Those things.
Oh, man, they're cheap. You ought to have a few. Get yourself a bunch of them.
So,
Really, I had heard it was expensive. It's really not expensive at all.
Oh
It's it.
no, no.
can you think of anything that you kind of wish that you had been asked that nobody's asked you yet? Because I know you're doing interviews, you're running around. One of the reasons we were late is because Jim was actually in another interview. I think he had the Today Show this morning that he had to get on, and then when he got off the Today Show, he went to I don't know, Kilborn in the morning, and then he came to us. And so we understood, but he's like leaving Jay Leno's studio, whatever now.
Really, he's talking to us from a
Hey,
car wash. He's in a car
guys.
wash and he's on his way to meet with Jimmy Fallon. And really, we're just something he's doing while he's getting the car wash because the phone doesn't get reception.
Because he can't look at the
It's
internet.
it's a packed media junket that I'm on right now, guys. It's a packed media, but the two of you have an account with me. Like I said, that goes back 30 years, so you can make a withdrawal any morning you want to.
Thank you.
So while we have you, Jimmy, the song, like, how old was the young woman you wrote with?
Gabby is she's in her early 20s. She's in her early 20s. She's a new mom, newly married. She's an incredible singer. The way the day came about, Emily Landis and Zach Kale and I had a writing appointment, and we were going to go write a song. And the day before, Rakaya Marshall at BMG said, "Hey, there's this singer who placed, I think, third on American Idol, and she's got good management, no record deal yet, and she's looking for a writing appointment tomorrow. Would you guys want her to join you?" And I asked Rakaya, I said, "Do you think it's a good idea?" She said, "Yeah." So if you think it's a good idea, I think it's a good idea. Let's do it. And, Zach and Emily were up for it. And so we just found ourselves in the room. It's a great example of my philosophy, which is say yes, always. And, we sat in the room, we did our job like any other day and tried to write the very best song we could around this idea that Gabby had called The Good Ones. And, at the end of the day, I felt like we did a great song. I will say this, at the end of the day, she stood up to sing the work tape. And we had been writing the song. She'd been singing melodies, but not really full voice. When she stood up and got on the microphone and sang the work tape, I about fell out of my chair. It was so good. And it was like, okay, that was great.
A lot of these a lot of these guys who go on these shows can sing. I mean, especially if they made their way up, they're real singers. It's no joke. I mean,
right.
It's the writing part that they need help. Right. Wow. So, yeah.
She's an incredible singer. And but anyway, that was it. I never know, man. It's just like, I hope I've done great work every day when I leave, and it's all you can do to kind of scrub, rinse, repeat, and do it again tomorrow. I'm not thinking about what I did yesterday. And
Right.
this song just kind of took on a life of its own. She brought it to the record company. They liked it. They recorded it.
So did she come with like an idea, and you sort of help find her way to that idea? Nice.
Totally. That's my job as a briefcase songwriter, and Paul's heard me talk about it. It's like my job is to help these artists facilitate their vision, right? To help them reach their vision of what they want to bring on stage, to give them a song that does the job they want done, whatever that is.
Because they define. I mean, songs define you, right? Especially even more so these days than in the old days, because you don't have many chances to say it.
Jimmy, you've always referred to yourself as a briefcase songwriter, and it's sort of a self-deprecating thing. But in reality, what I've learned over the years is what you do is you collaborate, in my opinion, in the purest way. Over the years of living in New Orleans, since Katrina, I've written with an awful lot of writers. People, wanted to write with me post Cowboy Mouth, like Shamar, that wanted to learn about rock and roll. And over the years, just a lot of writers have reached out, and I've been blessed to write with a lot of people. And in each case for me, and I'm sure you've experienced the same thing, you sort of converse a little first. And I try to find out what they feel they're best at and what they feel they're weakest at. And then what I do is I let them have the area they feel they're best at. Give them as much confidence as they can. I provide an entrance into the place where they think they're weak, but I don't take it over. I provide an entrance and I say, "Hey, look how easy this was. You got anything?" And oftentimes, I'd say 9 times out of 10, they go, "What about this?" And you go, "That's the shit. Yeah, we're writing now." So what you say by facilitating, I think that's what any good writer that truly loves writing and wants to share the craft does when they're writing with someone, whether it's the fact that you're successful and making money doesn't make you a briefcase writer. It makes you a very generous one and a very confident one.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks, Paul. I mean, I'm certainly very grateful for the fact that for the ability to make a living doing something that I love. But you describe it really well, man. Collaborating, it's a dance. It's a lot of psychology. It's more about kind of what kind of person are you in the room with somebody else than anything else, I would say. And
Yeah,
everybody's bringing a skill set and talent to the room. The real
right,
trick is how do you unlock those gifts in each other and trust each other and
right.
and just kind of like set the room on fire together when you can do
Uh oh,
that.
he disappeared, Mikey.
I
Yeah,
know he's there.
yeah, that's the trick. And it's like it's great when you're in a room with people where when somebody suggests something and it isn't your idea or it is your idea, whoever suggests something, the whole room sort of goes, yeah, obviously,
Right,
and that's a fun
right.
celebration when you're all got you coming from different places, you all have different ideas, and somebody says something, and then the whole room goes, yeah, well, not think of that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
let's keep.
Well, I remember that happening on a little song called Lito Benito, if I'm correct.
Well, as our fearless leader, Alex McMurray, taking up the challenge of me saying, man, I love the idea of this song, but I can't imagine what you would do with it. And he literally picked up the
Right.
guitar and sang, I want to be Lito Benito and build
And
a
we were off
guitar
to the
that can
races.
bark.
It was just the best. It was the best.
That was a
How's he
fun day.
doing? I'm sorry we didn't
I
have our
don't
kid
know,
this
man.
week.
Like, you know, the joke between Alex and I is when we started playing together, I had used him on Exit to Mystery Street by accident, blown away by his talent, and I started hiring him for gigs. But he's not a very talkative fellow off stage, and neither am I really. We're both kind of oddly quiet and antisocial in our own ways. So we would show up at the gigs, and we'd literally meet on stage and unpack our guitars and sit down and start playing. But there was a symmetry that was amazing. Like any song I played, he added to. I would start a joke from an old movie, and he would finish it, and it became like we called it the Smothered Brothers. It was so perfect and funny and fun. So after about 6 months of it, this friend of mine says to me, "So how long have you and Alex known each other? Like 20 years or something?" And I was like, "No, actually, we've never spoken off stage." And the guy's like, "Yeah,
That's
seriously."
great.
I'm like, "Seriously, all we ever say is hello, here's your money, thank you, see you next gig." So about 6 months in, we're playing DBA, and he shows up with his wife Courtney, and this is like years ago, a decade ago. And Courtney never came to shows, and so it was kind of surprising, and nice to see her. And after the show, I went to pay him as ever, and I gave him his money, and I said, "Thanks, Ralph," and he said, "Thanks, Sam," and I went to walk away because I call him Ralph, and he calls me Sam from the old Sheepdog and the Lamb cartoon where they only say hello in the morning and they beat each other up all day and then say goodbye at night. So I say, "All right, well, see ya." And Courtney elbows him, kind of nudges him in the back, and he goes, "Oh yeah, yeah. You want to get a beer?" And I go, "Yeah, sure. We never do that, but let's get a beer. Yeah, let's get a beer." So we get a beer, and we sit there, and we're kind of looking around at the band setting up and watching the game and looking at people in the room, and neither of us says anything to the other one. And he looks at me, he says, his beer's empty, mine's empty. He goes, "So we good?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're good." And Courtney just
That's great.
so
Yeah,
really
no,
that
I
has
get.
continued. I don't speak to Alex off stage. I think it has something to do with the fact that I played in Cowboy Mouth, and there's a Maroney ban on me. I have to be out of Cowboy Mouth for as many years as I was in before
Yeah,
Alex can actually
right.
be speaking with me where there's not money involved. And November
I feel it.
19th of this November 19th of this year will be 15 years. My karma will be clean, and there's going to be a reception in the Maroney that Alex is hosting to
Right.
welcome me back into the. Very excited about it.
Terrible, terrible, terrible. Well, I love the work we're doing in the Wright Brothers, Paul. I'm awfully proud of it. The
Well,
performances
Jim,
and
you
the
were
recordings.
you were so generous to think of the project, and it was your inception that you and Chris Joseph from Threadhead Records came up with, and it was a joy to be invited in. I always like working with Alex. It was you and I had never written together, and that was just as easy as butter. And then Spencer
Yep.
was a guy I had admired literally my entire life since I was 19 for the path he chose as a troubadour and a songwriter. It was unique. It was special. It was America at its finest. And he was a beautiful cat. I learned so much from him in the brief time I spent with him, though I always felt like the naughty son. And
Yeah, right.
I
I
met
know.
approval on one occasion from my wild ways and undisciplinedness. But I loved him, and I know that I believe he loved me. And it was great
Yeah.
making music with him.
Oh, it really was, man. My life is better for it all. It really is, you know. Guys, I'm gonna
He
have to
gave me a
jump in a minute. Just
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, we figured.
I got a meeting to get to. Hit me with any question you want though before I rock.
Well, what's the next writing session?
It's a Warner Brothers artist named Troy Cartwright.
Nice, nice.
So
So
you write every single day? Is-
I
You
write
write
every
every
day.
day that you're. And how
Yep.
many
Every
hours?
day. You know, it takes as long as it takes. Somebody said, "How long does it take to write a song?" I'm like, "It takes as long." I mean, I've sat in the room for 13 hours before.
gotcha.
And
So you guys
Yeah.
stay there until you write a song. It's like we're not leaving this room until we write a song. Nice.
That's
Wow.
right.
Well, I'm sure there's a bunch of good songs in there. Maybe some ones you could throw away and be like, "Hey, Mike, you want to play a song? Here's one."
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. I can't even think about it.
You have a
Well,
great
Jim,
day, man.
Congratulations again, buddy.
I love you
I'm so
guys.
proud of you.
Same
Happy
here.
for you.
Thank you, buddy.
You take care.
Thank
Hope
you,
you make a
guys.
lot of money too. Lots of money. Take care of them kids. Feed them kids.
Let's go have a beer.
All right,
Smoke.
sons. You
Do
too,
that.
man.
Take
Bye.
care.
All right.
See you
Take care.
guys.
And that was Jim McCormick, you guys.
Yeah. What a great guy.
Yeah, thank him for. All right, so do me a favor, somebody. Somebody send me another social. I think I fixed that thing where it stays up on the damn screen the whole damn time. I think I did that while Jim was talking. So if somebody wants to text again, I promise your text won't stay up there or whatever chat won't stay up there for a year and a half. By the way, did you notice, Paul? That was our chat. How could you not notice? It's the only thing you can see.
Our chat. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, the thing on the.
Yeah, the thing that came across. It was only supposed to last a second. It's only supposed to
I
last a
got no
second.
light over here, Mikey. I'm telling you, I can't. I'm dark. I'm in the dark on this.
You were in the dark. I let you go. It was long. We've
I
been
know.
running.
Well, with all of our technical difficulties,
Yeah, Paul
was
couldn't hear
like-
Jim, guys, so we kind of had to work that out because Paul would have just been sitting there. I could have pictured it, just sitting there going, "Is he talking, Mike? What did he say?" And then I get to repeat everything that Jim said to Paul. That's where we were
it
headed. With
wasn't
the whole
as
thing.
much fun as talking to Jim personally.
Hey, look at that. All right, so good. I'm working on it. All right, so that's too short. Thank you, Guy. I'm going to try again. I'm going to change my timing. So they put it up, and it just went and went away. Sorry, so let's try this number.
So now I'm brighter.
All right, now, if somebody does it again, I think now it should stay on a reasonable amount of time and then go away. There you go. Let's see how long it stays on for. Jim looks like John Travolta. He does. Didn't we say that? And look, it went away. That's beautiful.
That was my sister. That was my sister, Sandy, complimenting the looks of Jim McCormick. And we all know that Jim, ever since he's had several number ones, but I think it was after like the sixth number one, he has a lighting guy that travels with him. You see, so he leaves the house. He has hair and makeup before he walks out the door. And then there's a guy he's a young teenage boy that rides with him and carries a light and a little base that he puts on Jim's face just to make sure the light doesn't bounce. And so whenever he appears in an interview, you don't see the kid. The kid stands respectfully off distance, but there's like a little slightly yellow glow on Jim.
I noticed that.
Almost saintly. Yeah, you've noticed. Everybody notices it because it's there. I mean, that's how he works it.
Not to mention the kinetic, it was almost like it was staged. It was so kinetic. We thought he was driving, but you got the blue sky behind him, making his skin
Allison
texture.
Allison Dewar says that there's a delay on the chat.
Yeah. You mean as far as like when you do the chat and then it shows up? Yeah, it's probably the way it works.
Well, Allison,
There you go. See, it does take a second, but to come up.
Shmoo has been a stirrer, a pot stirrer since she was a kid.
Yes.
You
But
know,
and
think
the
when
reason I
she
did
was-
this was go ahead, sorry.
When Shmoo was in school, she got thrown out of more Tom's House shows for drunken behavior. And I wasn't going to talk about it, but now her mother knows and her husband knows, and her friends up there. She's a respectable mom now, but Oh my Lord, the bouncers were afraid of Shmoo back in the day.
Oh my God! All right, so before we started doing all that stuff with Jim, you had a story you were going to tell me. Was it Czechoslovakia or Slokavia or what was it?
There's so
Sokovia?
many things going on in the world that we were going to talk about, Mikey.
No.
At one point, we were going to talk about the Queen's Gambit, if you remember.
Yes, yes. We'll have to get back to the. But you said you something had reminded you about a
Well,
college
I
month
was
doing a
watching
rush.
International House Hunters last
Right.
night. Uh, my wife Allison loves that show, and it's kind of fun, see around the world and how much it would cost to live. And this woman was going to live in Prague, and now it's the Czech Republic. But I was reminded that in 1993, Cowboy Mouth played in what was then Czechoslovakia, in Bratislava, Czechoslovakia. The Iron Curtain had just come down, and going in, the guards were pretty friendly going in. Coming out, the Switzerland guards were scary, but going in, the Czechoslovakians, they thought it was great, rock and roll. They were all like rock and roll, take a picture. So we go in and we're playing a soccer stadium that we're opening for the band Whitesnake. That was
Nice.
1992, and Whitesnake was packing them in Bratislava, Czechoslovakia. I took a little walk around the square, waiting for the show, and there was a record store. And the number one selling vinyl in 1992 was Gino Vanelli's 1976 release in America. It was
No.
number one in
Wow.
1992 in Bratislava.
Wow.
So it was an interesting experience. And then, you know, uh, Fred was playing on stage, and it's always a rented kit, and this particular kit was a piece of crap, and Fred's bashing away like he always does, and the cymbal flips up just as he goes to do a crash, and it splits his hand wide open down to the bone. I mean, it's ugly. So he naturally stops playing and walks to the back of the stage, and like you can see, it's a deep gash, and he goes, I can't finish the show. I need to be taken to a hospital. And they go, you finished show. That's all they could say. He didn't speak much English. They go, you finished show. So he wraps his hand in a towel, and he finishes the show bleeding. It's like the end of Jenny Says. He'd have to play long, but he's bleeding bad. And so there's an ambulance waiting to take him away, and the shuttle bus is waiting to take the band away. And it's been so intense playing for Whitesnake and Fred bleeding and going to the hospital. I'm going to walk back to the hotel. So I'm walking along the Danube River, and I'm soaking in history and thinking of songs and thinking how romantic and beautiful it is to be walking along the Danube. And I noticed it's a longer walk than I had anticipated back to the hotel. The sun is starting to go down. And I don't speak Czechoslovakian, and it's not a romance-based language. Like, I speak a little Spanish, and I can fake Italian, and I know enough in French to order food and occasionally get slapped, but I don't do any Czechoslovakian. So I'm trying to ask directions to the hotel. I mean, I don't know anything as simple as left or right. I don't know how to say where I need to go. And people are trying to help. They're looking at me, and they're like, if you could say anything, you fucking idiot, I would help you. But so now it's dark, and I'm kind of paranoid. It's because you're in a strange city and you don't speak the language, and you don't know how to get home, and it's really my first time abroad, and I'm kind of getting scared. And this little old lady with a babushka, she comes walking over, hunched over, walking down the street, and I stop her, and I'm trying to say left, right, blah, blah, and she's just looking at me, the same thing, going, I don't know. And finally, I remember the hotel was next to a Kmart, and I just went, it's next to a Kmart? And her face lights up, and she goes, Kmart. And she points, like straight, right? And there it is. I just went to the hotel, I thanked her, and I was like, Kmart saved my life, of all things.
Not to mention
Kmart actually has a purpose.
that's funny because you'll hear a foreign language, and if they say a name of anything, right, it's always like, oh, I know that word. I know that word. They said Kmart, or you said,
no.
right.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. Now you'd be like the McDonald's. Is it? There's a McDonald's. Can you send me to? The
Oh,
McDonald's?
yeah, right. Well, plus, I think with the internet, I think way more people, what I've found in my travels is that English is more universal. Europeans have an education that includes learning multiple languages, and English is a prominent one. I mean, we don't have the same thing. We have a suggested, I don't know if it's like this anymore, but when I was in school, they suggested that you take Spanish or French. You didn't really
I
have
think they make all the kids take the class. It's just that it's so remedial, and nobody holds it.
I know that my two nieces went to Heinz, my brother Johnny's daughters, and they did a French immersion.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both fluent. Like one's, 13. No, she's now driving, so she's 15, and the other one's like 12, and they're fluent, but they won't speak it with me. I think my poor French embarrasses them.
They're like, yeah, I don't think so. We don't.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. Mom, he's saying that the dog has a poop in its hole. I don't know. It's not.
Nice.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I told you this story, but we were recording John Boutet's "Good Neighbor" record, and David Perner from Soul Asylum was co-producing, and John was in the vocal booth, and warming up, and he started singing in Korean.
Mm-hmm.
It was so beautiful that Dave turned to the engineer, George, and he said, "George, get this." So they recorded it. And it was just John a cappella in Korean. So when John came into the room to listen to the playback of the song, Dave said, "Hey, man, if you don't mind, we recorded this. It's just so beautiful." And John listened, and he goes, "Oh, baby, that's an old Korean folk song I learned when I was in the army and stationed in Korea." And we're like, "Wow, that's heavy." He goes, yeah, I learned it from this old guy in Korea. You want to know the translation?" And we go, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, the husband is telling his wife that he has to go across a mountain, go do this thing. And the wife is saying, you can go across a mountain, but you're going to get a foot fungus and die."
Right.
You see, in those days, they didn't have like hospitals and vaccines and shit. So if you got a foot fungus on a long hike, you're probably going to die. So that's what it's about. And it was like, wow, that's a weird little song, but it's beautiful. So about 6 months later, John and I are playing in Los Angeles. And I think something that the Threadheads had arranged, Chris Joseph or Coleman Ann Egelhoff, actually. Craig Klein's girlfriend, Ann, arranged it. And anyway, we're playing, and John spots a Korean woman in the audience, and he says, "Hey, baby, I'm going to sing something in Korean for you." And she's like, "Wow." So he sings a song. And then after the song, he does what he did for Perner and I. And he says, "I'm going to tell the rest of y'all what it's about. It's about the husband who goes across the mountain. He says the foot fungus, and the wife says she's going to die." And the girl turns to her friend. She goes,
Oh, man.
but it was beautiful, man.
Oh, yeah. So you didn't actually find out what the song actually is about. You just know it's not about the foot fungus.
I don't have any idea, and I do not believe that John does either, but he sings it beautifully.
Just think about just even the way that stuff like that gets started, right? I mean, somebody's like going, "I'm gonna have some fun with this American guy." I'm gonna tell him. It's just in the army, right? That's when he heard the story about it, right? When he in the
Right, it might have been. That you might have something there. It might have been somebody just fucking with him. He might have said, "Hey, that's really pretty. Can I learn it?" And then they taught it to him and told him that was a translation, and he might honestly believe that it is.
No, we don't know what it's about, Allison. That's what we were just saying. All right, so look. All right. Now, you're a big movie buff. I'm a big movie buff. This is my little thing. I actually made a list because, like I said, I was reading that book, but I was kind of blown away at all of these sort of trend-setting movies that came out in 1999. Movies that sort of, define different things. And some of them aren't going to be your cup of tea, but at the same
I
time,
was just going to say, I just did Jonathan Pretis' podcast yesterday.
yeah.
I love the kid. I love that he's taken on doing this Beatles thing. It was painful enough to do Long and Winding Road like 3 months ago. It's so far down the list for him.
Uh-huh.
Octopus's Garden is above it. And then I'm doing the show yesterday, and we're doing Cry Baby Cry. And I thought, well, that's cool. That's an obscure song that he has higher up on the list. And it's a lovely song, and blah, blah, blah. And as we're doing the interview, he goes, "Yeah, so in a couple of weeks, we're going to be doing Wild Honey Pie." I'm like, fucking Wild Honey Pie? That's not even a whole song.
Right.
How does it get above Long and Winding Road, for fuck's sake?
It's above Long and...
Got off on that.
It's above Long...
Yes.
I got to look at
Way
his
above.
list. I got to look at his
Oh,
list.
yeah.
Look,
Well, he's young.
I mean, how do you
He's
make it
young.
work? Yeah.
It
Oh,
looks
look
like
at
a
that.
coffee cup.
It's keying
It's
out
invisible.
some stuff. Yeah, it's keying out stuff in the. That's hilarious. Hey, look. Oh, that's kind of cool. Look at that. The Beatles are just standing
Like he
there.
drinks through a magical, invisible Beatles coffee
I
cup.
do. Look at that. That's awesome, guys. You didn't know. I am magic.
Magic Mike.
All right. So 1999 movies, right?
Yeah, what's the list?
All right. So Blair Witch Project, was the first movie that
Great
sort of
movie.
did that great movie. What they make it $22,000 or something like that.
Right, right.
I think they wound up going back and spending another $100,000 on the soundtrack once it got bought. Because they wanted to create the quiet and get rid of all the noise of the cameras. Fight Club, another movie that was just mind
I have to
bending.
say, I never saw it.
Oh, it's David
Yeah,
Fincher.
I was at the age where I was just so tired of watching guys beat each other up.
No, but it's
just
David
get
Fincher.
up.
It's David Fincher. I mean, are you familiar with him as a director?
Yeah, he's made great movies. I didn't feel like watching Edward Norton and
Ah.
Brad Pitt beat each other up relentlessly for hours, only to find out that they hadn't.
Yeah, so you know about the movie, then you know what the little twist
Yes,
and stuff. But mostly,
Well, it was in the tour bus, so it was one of those things like you caught the plot because you were walking through, and Griff would be watching it or Fred would be watching it.
Gotcha.
I saw the movie in pieces.
Gotcha. It is actually a
Never
pretty,
set-
but it's kind of like this is 1999. They're sort of doing this incel sort of narrative. I mean, that's all Chuck Palahniuk too. I mean, in his books they have all that stuff. I don't know if you've read any of his books, but
No.
he's an interesting writer. It's really antisocial kind of commentary type stuff, but it's interesting.
Which you would think I would like.
Right. What about the movie Election? Did you ever see the movie Election, which turned out to not be what I thought it was? Because I
With Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon.
and Reese Witherspoon,
Big
yes, yes, big fun,
Yeah, big fun.
and interesting. There was a lot of controversy about that one because it's 1999 and there's a lot of sexual innuendo stuff. They don't show stuff, but at the
They
time,
really danced on the edge with some stuff.
the
they
girls
really-
kissing,
Yeah, and they really, I thought, cleverly utilized his Ferris Bueller persona.
Yes, right. They
Because
just now he's the teacher,
He's a teacher, yeah.
which was
Yeah.
really kind of, and they knew they were doing that. I mean, it was part of the.
And Reese Witherspoon is just an amazing actress. Even when she was a child, the woman was amazing. She can
Yes.
do anything. You've seen the one with her and Kiefer Sutherland.
Yes.
Oh
She
my
was-
God, she's a runaway and he's a serial killer. Oh my God,
I know she's unbelievable. I agree.
unbelievable. She's
I
like
agree.
a wild animal.
Oh, I love her. The Johnny Cash story.
Oh yeah, she was a great June Carter.
Oh my God! And her singing, she
Yeah.
sang that stuff. She sounded great. She actually sounded better than June on some stuff. I was like, dang,
Hey now.
I know you can't say that, but her voice is so pretty. It was like, wow.
You can say that.
So anyway, that was one of Virgin Suicides. Another
Tough one to watch. Yeah, a really great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? That's
the girl. My Spider-Man,
yeah, Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst.
You
Right.
think of her from Spider-Man. I think of her from Interview with a Vampire.
Yes, right.
But,
Interview
yeah.
with the Vampire. Right. Yes.
Yeah, and the Three Sisters. It's really such a beautiful but tragic film.
Uh-huh.
Hard to watch more than once.
Yes, but you see where it was like, sort of a big, for a night, these are all movies in the same year, just
It moved me incredibly. Yeah, that's a great year for movies.
American Beauty was in 1999.
Can't no. Let's move on.
You don't like that one, huh? Oh,
I'm
was it
too
the
old.
Spacey thing or
I didn't watch it. Oh, American Beauty. I'm thinking of American Pie. No, American Beauty was awesome.
yes, American
was
Beauty. What a story.
Incredible film.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my God. Yeah,
And it was written by-
everything about it.
Yeah, it was written
Who
by
directed that?
he's let me look at it real quick cuz he was the French guy. I'm not the English guy. Alan something wrote
It was great.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
great.
And it was one of his first movies that he was doing.
So disturbing.
Yes, so disturbing. What a well written story and everything like that.
Well
too.
written, well directed.
and
as
well directed. Yes. Let's see what else we got. Magnolia, which is by one of my favorite directors,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah, no, I love his movies.
Yes, it's the one. It's a little bit
That with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, Jason Robards.
Probably why.
But Tom Cruise's character in it, you'd love. It's great. I mean, it's not Tom Cruise. In fact, he didn't even want to be in the any of the advertising for the movie. He said, "I'll do the movie as long as I'm not one of the ones that you're pushing." So you can't even see him on the poster and stuff. He just sort of is in the movie. But
I'll
it's
bear it in mind.
I think you might enjoy it. He plays this really aggressively. They sort of make fun of his character, his character in real life through it. It's one of those
I
type
got
of things. There's a movie called Go. I don't know if you ever saw Go, but it's more for the young people. But it was really, really, it sort of defined a
Oh,
bunch
what
of
are you
movies.
saying?
Yeah, what's that?
What are you trying?
I'm just
You
saying
trying to
you
say
might have missed it.
I wasn't even young, and I wasn't even young in 1999.
No, probably not. You're an old man, dude. You were an old man in 1985. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, no question.
So, Eyes Wide Shut. Did we say Eyes Wide Shut? Last movie by
No, I couldn't. Again, Tom Cruise. You
Gotcha.
know,
It's Stanley Kubrick. Last
out
movie.
if he's jumping from a helicopter or if there's a car chase with
You didn't like him in Rain
children.
Man?
Well, yeah, I liked him in Rain Man
Just asking. I'm sorry.
because he was playing an asshole.
He plays an asshole in Magnolia too.
No,
He
he
does a
may
good
be one of
asshole.
the nicest people ever, but he plays an asshole so well
Yes, he does.
that I kind of think of him as an asshole.
I got you.
And I don't want that image destroyed by finding out that he's a nice guy. You know, let him keep that to himself. Let his friends and family know he's a nice guy. Let me believe his image.
So some of these people that watch us probably Run Lola Run. So this is a German movie, and it sort of became
No, I see. I don't watch many
right.
foreign films.
Right. What was
Cinema
that?
Paradiso, probably the last foreign film I watched.
So The Insider. Did you ever see that? Michael
Yeah,
Mann,
with Al Pacino.
Al Pacino,
Yeah,
right? And what was the other guy?
great stuff.
Russell Crowe. Right. Great
Yeah,
movie.
great movie.
Man on the Moon was in 1999. Did
That's
you ever
Andy,
with
Andy
Jim Carrey
Garcia's
doing
short.
it? Yeah.
Yeah. Jim Carrey was brilliant. The movie was wonderful and funny and heartbreaking and lovely. Yeah,
Yeah. That also the Iron Giant, which was I got an interesting story with Brad Bird on the Iron Giant. He
I
was
don't know that movie.
it was an animated movie, but it's we had kids and man, the Iron Giant that year, like it was one of the, and it was a movie with heart, like one of those movies that you watch as an adult. It's actually written kind of for adults, but it lived later with
I
kids
like
and
that new
stuff.
King Kong movie we were talking about
Kind
a
of like
few
the new
weeks.
King Kong movie that we were just talking about. Although I think that one they moved it towards kids on purpose. I think that was the intention of
Big audience.
yeah, yeah. They made some mistakes with the early ones, not selling a lot of tickets, and I think they intentionally said, you know what are we doing? Why are we trying to make a big adult movie with giant monsters? What are we out of our minds? Sell it to the kids. The kids are the ones who
Those are
want
the
to see
kids.
this.
We'll teach
So
them sign language. We'll feed them sushi. We'll get them out
right,
in a half hour. Their parents will love us.
Galaxy Quest was in 1990. Three Kings.
Ah, what a great
I
movie.
know Galaxy
Galaxy
Quest. I know. Three
because it
Kings.
plays on all your.
Did you ever
Three
see
Kings
that?
is a great movie.
And that's
Yes, I've seen
by
it.
the guy who
Uh,
did Joy and gosh, what was the other movie that he did right before Joy? But
really well
it's
cast. Mark Wahlberg, Ice Cube, and
and Clooney.
George Clooney.
And that was
And
Clooney's
they play.
first movie outside of Batman.
Was it really?
That was his
Really?
first one. Yeah, because they didn't want to use him. They kept trying to get all these different people for the movie, and finally,
So fun. Because he was great in it.
oh, he was
He was really
awesome.
great.
And him and
Yeah.
the director had issues with it. And this director is another one of these guys. He's very talented. All his movies, he writes his stuff, and all his movies are great. He did like I think Silver Linings Playbook,
That
and
book. That's a great movie.
yeah, the one with the one with Christian Bale in that, where it was back in the '70s, came out a few years back.
True Crime.
I don't think it's true crime, but Jennifer Lawrence is in it, and
Oh,
she's
Christian
like,
Bale. American Psycho.
no. This is an ensemble piece. But Jennifer
I don't
Lawrence
know.
is in it. She's talking. She's the girlfriend. It's just a great movie. I think Amy Adams is in it as well as Christian Bale's wife. And then Bradley Cooper's in it.
Off your list.
Anyway, this guy's a great director. Sixth Sense, by the way, came out in 1999.
Ah, that's a lot of great movies for one year. That's a great movie.
The Matrix. Did we already mention The Matrix? So it's unbelievable how many movies that changed the way movies were even made, and sort of redefined some of these things.
One of my favorite things when I can't sleep is to watch a classic film. And a couple of nights ago, I watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
What a great movie! Lawrence Kasdan wrote that, by the way.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
No, he did not.
I'm pretty sure he
Butch
did.
Cassidy?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Silverado. He wrote.
He wrote Silverado as well, but no, who was it? You're right. It was God dang it.
Yeah,
It was
great movie.
a writer though.
But I was reminded how, when I was young, it never occurred to me that would be like a Bogart movie to me. It's so old looking. You know.
I know, but it's still pretty. Like everything in it's really
Oh,
pretty. I
great.
just
No, it's just a great, great fun movie. You know, the caper, as it were.
I read the book of the guy who wrote Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That's why I have to look it up now because I read his book and actually the script is in the book.
Trying to find maybe if I can the other way.
I'm looking right now to see on my little iPad here. I came up as Butt Cassidy. I hope it doesn't come
Wait,
with some
don't
crazy.
put that one on.
I know, I know. Butt Cassidy. I think I need some iPhone help here.
I got a feeling that you won't be something our viewers would appreciate in the morning
no.
talk show.
And the Sundance Kid, huh? All right, Butt Cassidy. What's up, Butt? Anyway.
Yeah, but
Ooh, what a morning. See, my Spanish needs help, and so does my iPhone writing. Let's see.
well,
Oh, that's
lighting,
why I'm
I've
on the
been
wrong.
nothing all around.
I'm on the wrong damn network. That's why I can't see anything. How does one
Well,
on one network and the other one's not? What's wrong with people like myself?
what time is it anyway?
I don't know. Let me see who wrote
Must
the
be time
script.
for us to call it.
Maybe. If they're, we came on late. I feel like we got to give them every dang thing they're looking for. Oh, William Goldman. Thank you. Sorry. That's
Oh,
his,
William Goldman, of course. He was
right.
a great writer.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I read his book, and I'm like going, come on, I can't remember this guy's name. It's Will Goldman. Yes.
Happens sometimes.
Happens sometimes. So we got to talk to, what did we learn from Jim McCormick today? That we have a long way to go?
Nah, man. You know what the thing about Jimmy is he set out on a 10-year path to getting where he is. He slept on couches. He didn't just believe in his talent. He believed in his talent, but he's a smart, educated man. And he's a kind man. He was smart enough to know that he should read all the credits to as many albums as he could and find out who produced what, who played on whose records, who knew who. So that when he met somebody, when he's out drinking with friends and they said, oh, this is so-and-so, he said, oh, you played bass on so-and-so's record. I really dug what you did. And that instantly lets people know that you care enough. You listen to me. I mean, it's the biggest thing in the world. I want to be listened to.
Right.
And I thought that it wasn't just business for him because he was raised politely. It was polite to do that. And it was good business.
And it was good
And
business.
so I think, and it was good business. But I mean, it was also, it's nice. I mean, it's thoughtful. And it taught me something, and so I think that he just did, he made the right moves. He got lucky, and he was incredibly talented.
We, I met Jim like before you guys. I mean, me and Fred produced their first record, and I produced their second record with a band that he was in when he first started. He was still in college.
Benjamin.
The Benjamin, which I thought was a great band. They had great songs. In
I love
fact,
that band.
I've had a few people who actually bought that record. If you could find it, I think you can. I think it's still around
I have a
Louisiana
copy.
Music, right? Factory and
I
stuff.
have a copy on CD.
Yeah,
Which
there's
is
a couple of them. You guys should listen to it. I have people that listen to it that go, "My God, these guys were so far ahead of their time."
Yeah, you just can't find many CD players very many places.
Right, they're hard to find, but it was some great stuff that Jim wrote when he was,
Oh yeah, well he's a great writer.
he's a great writer
And a great guy.
and a great
Always
guy.
liked
He took his time out and took his handsome coiffed hair and hung out with us
Yes.
today. Made us look cooler.
Yeah.
I bet. I bet we get some cool
No,
points for this.
he just made us look scruffier. He didn't make us look cooler at all.
You don't think? You don't think? Maybe
No.
even the fact that I'm going to put his name on every show going forward for a while. That it's like one of these was him. Just keep looking.
Listen, neither of us have ever done anything of note, but we know people. That could be
That's
our
the-
motto.
Dude, what do you think this show's about? We know people. That's all we doing here. That's all we got going on. Who do you know? Hey, I know a guy who made a thing and had a thing, and let's do it. Call him up. Get him on our show. I'm ready to have some chefs, man. I'm ready to start sharing. Look, we're going into summer. It's time for us to start sharing. So we got to get a chef. Who's a good cook? Come on and give us a nice summer meal because I want something light. I'm ready for some light food. I've been eating all this heavy winter food. Just need somebody
It's
who's.
ironically enough, because I'm not big on food, I don't know many chefs. I would have to think about it.
I'd have to think about it too. I'd have to think about it too. See, I'm desperate for food. Whenever we get talking on food, that's when
And generally, what happens is, and I know this is unfair, but a lot of people, Mikey, like to get paid for their work
Oh, really?
and don't have any money.
Yeah. They do. They don't like to just like do stuff for free, like us.
Well, unlike us.
Like us. But you know what? I'll take Jim driving in the car. What else is he doing, right? He's like, yeah, I'll give you a few minutes. I'm driving between appointments. I'll get on your show for a little minute.
We
Yeah.
got to joke with an old friend, and we got to say that we're proud of him and we love him, and that's all that we really wanted to do.
Yes. Yes.
So I'm glad we had him.
Me too.
And then we shall return on Wednesday, and I may have a guest on Wednesday. I'm going to let you know.
Okay.
It might be just you and me, but
And we can finally do Queen's Gambit. We'll finally maybe take a look
we
at
should
that.
talk about that, and we should talk about. Listen, people, I play chess, and I sincerely love chess. I play on chess.com.
I lost my first game on
Because I love it.
chess.com.
Because I love it doesn't mean I'm any good at it. So I'm going to say, people assume, oh, you love chess, would you like to play? The wonderful writer Michael Tisserand found out that I played, and he goes, oh, I like your stuff, and I hear you play. Would you like to play? So he invited me to some other site, and two things. You know me, I can't navigate anything once I get on the internet. I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't find any. I don't know how to find it. That wasn't so easy. I just hit play game. And so I finally found him, and we played, and he beat me so quickly and so badly twice that he pretended not to be able to get back to me after that. So I don't want to embarrass him when I see him out, so I won't mention that, Michael, I understand that you spanked me as if I were 5 years old. I'll just wait and smile from a distance and like, no, I won't approach you. I will leave you alone. I understand.
Nice. Well, I decided for excitement's purposes, because we had talked about your chess.com. So I went on and I told them I was an expert, and I wanted to see how many games like it would take me to lose down to I was really in my real level. And I've lost 5 games so far. But the last one did take 15 minutes to lose. Like the first couple.
Nice.
Yeah, the first couple, I think it was a minute. It was a minute. It was like, really? Oh my God,
You
it's
learn.
over? Yeah, oh yeah. I
Yeah.
learned I'm not an expert.
Especially when people do the same things every time. You're like, fell for that last time. How do I not fall for that?
Well, I love in Gambit. We'll talk about it later, but just that whole thing about the way they're calling defenses and offenses and stuff like that, as if it's like, split back. We think of, whenever I think of that, I think of football.
I was such a geek in high school. I was in the chess club when I was a freshman at Bonneville.
Uh-huh.
I went on chess, tournaments and all that kind of stuff.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
the look of that whole thing and everything, we'll talk about it later. I think I'm going to get some pictures and stuff.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Look, 60, I'm waving you off.
Wait, you're done. You're like, man, wait a second. It's my time too. I get stuff I got to do too.
I already signed off, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Hey guys, thanks for waiting for us to figure out how to get Jim working. I think it was worth it.
It was an adventure. I was so proud of you. You never gave up. You never got flustered. He doesn't get angry, people. He stays calm. He goes, I got this. Let's try this. Let's try that. Hang up, call back, hang up, call back. He solves it, and you get that beautiful smiling face the whole
And
time.
then we're heading off into a show. So we're going to play some music for you guys now. It's our favorite song right now. We're going to play our favorite song. And we'll see y'all on Wednesday, maybe with a guest.
Well, I used to keep my money in a cookie jar. It was shaped like a cat, it was a present from my brother. I read a lot of books, but I couldn't see between the lines. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. Well, her hair is as black as an alleyway, and it used to be red, and it used to be blonde. Truth is, her hair changes color all the time. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. I'll have another cup of coffee if you don't mind. could I see when I hear two fellas fighting in the booth across from me? So I wipe away the ashes from an empty counter seat, and I wished I wasn't homesick, I wish I was asleep. Well, I hold her like a blanket up against my chin, and I need her like I need another pack of chewing gum. Well, we used to be like that